Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer Online action. We are in a free-for-all, so we'll quickly go over the army compositions here. I've got a front line of Black Ark Corsairs here, Dreadspear on each flank with Dark Shards with shields in the back. I've also got 4 Cold One Chariots. These guys are a lot of fun. They've got some pretty decent stats. We'll go over them a bit more in detail later on. Malakith up on his dragon. Skaven player, who we're going to be initially faced up against, has some Death Runners out here on the flank, Warp Lightning Cannon, Hellpit Abomination, Plague Furnace with a Plague Priest, some Skaven Slave Spears in the rear, and on the flanks here it looks like Clan Rats with Spears, Clan Rats in the front mixed with Storm Vermin, 1 Plague Monks there in the center, and a Lord on a Bonebreaker. For the High Elves, we've got White Lions of Trace here up in the center, Spearmen also in the front, 3 Archers, looks like 2 units of Silver Helms, a Frostheart Phoenix, Prince up on a Sun Dragon. I believe that is everything. For the Lizardman player, he's got some Chameleon Skinks, front line of Skink Cohort on the flanks with Saurus in the center, 2 Temple Guards in the rear and on the flanks. We've got Skink Cohorts as well. Looks like some Cold One Spear Riders, Revivification Crystal, and Lord Mazdamundi. So definitely in for a wild fight. Things are already kicking off, as you can see. So let's kick it into action. So my first order of business is going to be to bring these Cold One Chariots around to these Death Runners and get a very, very nice charge. Though the dinosaurs pulling the chariots is just amazing. It looks absolutely wonderful. And then the rats are going to be charging in the front line, kind of compromising my flank a little bit, which is rough. But, you know, the chariot should be able to get in there and do some work. You can see the Hellpit charging straight in. And the Plague Furnace as well, doing its kind of Mortis Engine thing. Meanwhile, the Lizardmen and the High Elves clashing up on the hill over here. You can see an absolutely wild fight going down in the center. The Silver Helms are going to have a pretty rough time, but these Skinks will die out pretty quick. They're mostly just being used as a meat shield, Temple Guard, and all that being brought in to deal with some of these high-value targets. Over here, you can see the Revivification Crystal taking some shots from the Warp Lightning Cannon. I've also brought my other unit of chariots, or my other 2 units rather, over here, and I'm getting into the Skinks of the back line of the Lizardmen, just tying them up, not allowing them to really be that effective. Lord Mazdamundi trying to pull back to his own troops here. The Dragon as well taking quite a bit of damage. The Phoenix is still relatively healthy, but this is a really rough situation getting pinned down here. But the High Elf Archers, very healthy, continuing to fire away. Same thing with the Dark Shards over here on my flank. Although my center has somewhat been broken by this Hellpit, we've got Malakith down here. He's doing some really nice damage to the Plague Furnace. He's also dropping some life-stealing magic on this Warlord over here, keeping himself healthy and in the fight, because of course the Hellpit Abomination does have armor-piercing, anti-large weapon strength. He's a very, very good combatant. Doesn't have great combat stats, but heavy weapon strength, poison damage, regeneration, a lot to like there. But the Clan Rats and this unit of Storm Vermin have compromised my back line, so we're going to need to bring Malakith back here, get on these guys in a real big hurry before they do too much damage. Over on this other flank, you can see the Cold One Chariots continuing to just bowl over these Skinks, and they're not too happy about that situation. These Silver Helms have also compromised the back line, and, you know, it's interesting. If the Silver Helms were to get tangled up in these Cold One Chariots, the Cold One Chariots do actually have armor piercing, so they can somewhat hang in that fight. They're not really meant for that, and they will lose, I would imagine, but they could potentially do some damage there. You can see the Revivification Crystal just continuing to take shots from that Warp Lightning Cannon, getting some really nice value out of that thing. The High Elf backline almost gets compromised by some Skinks here, but John Ton's going to bring in some Spearmen here to tie these guys down. And we'll go ahead and kick it into full gear here. Just an absolutely wild fight. The White Lions are holding very, very well in the center. It's very close, honestly, between these Saurus and the White Lions. There's pockets of, you know, where the Lizardmen are winning. There's pockets where the High Elves are winning. Same thing over here. Now that the Murderous Prowess has gone off, you know, these 2 chariots marauding on those Skinks, and we also did get this chariot over here tying down this Warp Lightning Cannon, finally trying to silence it. These things can get a ton of value in free-for-all, but these Skaven Slave Spears trying to come in to support. They honestly won't do a whole lot here, but I'm going to try and pull away just to not take any damage there. Meanwhile, the front line of mine has mostly crumbled off. These Black Ark Corsairs, though, have acquitted themselves very well, killed quite a few Skaven. These Cold One Chariots, though, are really the MVPs there. They're really holding down the back line. We did activate my Dark Riders that were in reserve to try and just pin down the Storm Vermin while we shoot them in the flank with the Dark Shards, doing some nice armor-piercing damage there. And Malakith, of course, the Terror. And Storm Vermin are not immune to Psychology, although they are pretty sturdy troops overall with 90 armor, decent combat stats, decent leadership as well. They are not immune to Psychology, so they're not going to like trying to fight Malakith in this engagement. Meanwhile, the Chariots, all groups have been pulled in here to the center, just trying to break apart the last of the main Skaven force here. This Plague Furnace as well, continuing to do its Mortis Engine thing, but getting very low on HP. My Dark Shards are still online somewhat, so we're going to be able to fire in here and hopefully get some work done. Meanwhile, over here, it looks like the High Elves are mostly winning this engagement. There's just a few pockets of Temple Guard, Lord Mazdamundi still holding out here, but some of the Saurus as well going into Rampage, which is really bad news as they'll continue fighting. Granted, you can't control them, but they will stay in here a lot longer than they otherwise would, you know, when they're in that Rampage. These Black Ark Corsairs are nearly finished off. They're not going to like fighting the Hellpit Abomination too much, as it does cause terror, but we're just continuing to Soul Steal, get Malakith some health. He's going to be very key in this late game engagement here, but these Clan Rats are going to get routed off, hopefully. It's kind of weird. The summoned units of Clan Rats they have like 0 mass when they first get summoned, and it leads to some kind of weird situations, but anyway. The Chariots at this point are not really needed in this fight too much. It's mostly just monsters, so we're gonna dispatch them and see if we can't find some high-value targets over on this hill here. The Clan Rats and the Storm Vermin continuing to just get on these Dark Shards. This one unit's pretty much been finished off at this point, but this other unit is still online somewhat, so if we can try and protect them and conserve what ammo they do have left, it could be very key in the late game. I am ahead on points at the moment. John Ton's looking like he's second, but him and Papa Soda are very close, so Karma's not far behind. So at this point, the Skaven player Papa Soda is going to bring all his forces back to try and protect this cannon, which is a very wise move. The cannon crew's still, you know, not quite routed off here, and unfortunately I'm not able to control this chariot. Otherwise I would go and hit them and just see them off the battlefield, but at this point the cannon crew is actually going to rally and come back online, which is really good for the Skaven player. I'm trying to consolidate kind of my forces over here and just see off the last of the Skaven infantry, just, you know, push them off that table edge. Meanwhile, the fight between the Lizardmen and the High Elves continues to drag on here in the center as these high armor, you know, high defense units just continue to slug it out here in an absolutely beautiful combat. You can see corpses strewn all over the battlefield. And Lord Mazdamundi as well coming in here to lay a smackdown on that poor Frosty Pigeon. So definitely, you know, it's what originally looked to be in the High Elves' favor is going to start being pulled back here. And this is a bit of an issue for the High Elves. The Cold One Chariots are over here. He did send them into Rampage, which protected his archers, but they are going to go in here and get on the rear of these White Lines of Trace and these Temple Guard as well. Meanwhile, the Dark Shards are opening up, and that's going to pretty much rout this entire pocket and allow me to get some really nice free points here. So that was really nice, you know, that Enrage, although I would have liked to have gotten into those archers. They're pretty much out of ammo at this point anyway, so, you know, no big loss, and those White Lines are probably a higher value target anyway, so actually worked out kind of in my favor. But this unit still has three chariots left. And at this point, it's mostly just monsters, a few high-value units. You know, the archers are very healthy as well. This unit of Temple Guard gets roasted. Well, I guess, I don't know, would you call that roasted by Malakith's, like, Plague Breath? But, yeah, they're not going to like that. They're going to go off the battlefield. At this point, the High Elf forces are very low. The Dragon is, you know, just about to rout off here. He's only got about 250 hit points left. The Phoenix is very low as well. And since all the archers have spent their ammunition, the leadership is getting really shaky for the High Elf player. They're going to shatter from army losses very soon. You can see the cannon continuing to fire in, actually whiffing all those shots somehow, despite all these targets all over the hill. But the enraged Cold One Chariots just continuing to get in here and munch on some skinks, and they're gonna get some decent damage done. Yeah, at this point it's gonna be tough. the High Elves do shatter due to army losses, and a lot of these monsters and so on are going to just continue pursuing for a moment. Meanwhile, I'm trying to find a good target for Malakith. Got a really nice volley from the Dark Shards there. They're just about out of ammunition, but I'm trying very hard to conserve what little ammunition they do have. Some really nice shots there from the Warp Lightning Cannon coming in on these dinosaurs here, and they're getting very, very low. That Revivification Crystal actually shatters, but Lord Mazdamundi still holding strong here. Going to be charging into the rear of these clan rats here, and they immediately get terrified and rout off. Meanwhile, over here, I did have to pull around my Cold One Chariots to get on this last unit of Saurus here that was trying to get the Dark Shards. We're able to protect them at this point. They still have maybe 3 or 4 volleys left. Let's see, 4 volleys left. So, you know, hopefully we can get it on some high-value targets. I don't believe if you shoot at shattered units, I think routing units you'll get points from, but not shattered units. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I believe that's how it works in terms of shooting at routing units. We are just going to use the rest of the ammunition, though, to shoot at Mazdamundi. He's pretty much the high-value, high-armor target left on the battlefield, so the Dark Shards shots will be most effective in that engagement. I was thinking about coming down here, but I'm like, you know what, those are Temple Guard, why even take that free damage? Let's just roast these guys as well. You can see they're not liking that too much, so they're going to shatter. And meanwhile, I thought they were going to shatter. They're very, very low. Maybe. We just get a free charge into these skinks that the Terror, they're actually going to run away there. Lord Mazdamundi and the Hellpit are going to turn their attention onto Malakith, so we got some monstrous combat going down in here. And this Stegodon Slock and this Fell Dragon here and the Hellpit all just rampaging all over each other. It's very beautiful. We are dropping another Soul Stealer just to try and keep Malakith in this fight here. He's taking a lot of damage, though. He's really, really not having fun time. The Dark Shards finally got compromised by a whole bunch of rats and the Bonebreaker, so they're going to be seen off at this point, but we still do have this other chariot you can see being pursued by the cannon crew. They've still got a couple unit models left, so they're going to be able to get in here and get some work done. You can see they're rear charging these rats here. And, you know, the Dark Shards are still holding somehow. I thought they would have routed long before now, but they're still holding. We've managed to shatter off those clan rats. The Plague, or the Death Runners as well, are very, very low. And the Bonebreaker actually goes to chase after the Chariots, which is going to allow these Dark Shards to possibly get back online here. The Death Runners are here as well, though, so they may tie them up. And it's getting very, very close now. Malakith is routed off. I'm only about 1,000 points ahead of Sakarma. And Papa Soda is not too far off as well, sitting at about 9,000. Unfortunately, John Ton getting routed off early there is now dropped to the bottom spot. But at this point, the Bonebreaker and the Hellpit are going to be too much for Mazdamundi to handle. He's going to shatter due to army losses and actually get killed there. So Sakarma's down and out, and now it's just me and the Skaven, as it was in the beginning. I'm going to bring down Malakith here and try and just take out this Warlord to get as much points as I can. I know I really can't win this fight, but if I can at least take down the Warlord, you know, it could give me a nice little buffer here to end up winning this fight in the end. We've also got this Cold One Chariot here that's going to finish off this unit of Death Runners, and very nice for me. He's also got a unit of Plague Monks way out here. I'm not sure where they're going, but probably just trying to hide from the chariot at this point. Malakith is very, very low, taking a lot of damage, down to only 59 hit points, and he is actually going to get taken down by this Hellpit. So, there it goes, and down and out. Not far from where Mazdamundi went down, so this is a very, very close fight now. Just this Cold One Chariot remaining after having got a really nice charge on those Death Runners. And we'll go ahead and fast forward here. I think we all know what's going to happen now. Yeah, Cold One Chariots up against the Hellpit Abomination's not really going to go well for the Chariots, so they're going to rout off, but we do have enough points to still hold out for a victory, so very well played to all my opponents there. Had a ton of fun with that one. Free-for-all is always a wild fight. Wild fight. Absolutely just chaos. So, Cold One Chariots were really the MVPs for me. You can see they got a ton of work done on the Skinks and on the Skaven and in the late game there on a lot of those other troops. The Black Hawk Corsairs did okay. I really thought they would have done better in that fight, but the Dark Shards as well, getting some really nice kills, really high value work done. The Dark Riders also chasing down a lot of routing Skaven units and helping to protect the Dark Shards. For Papa Soda, let's have a look here. The Hellpit Abomination get a lot of work done. It only got 58 kills, but I mean, it was working on Malakith, it was working on Mazdamundi, all those high value targets. The Warp Lightning Cannon got some really nice work done as well. Skaven Infantry just didn't get what it needed to done. The Death Runners and the Plague Monks did okay, but the Clan Rats mostly just got run over by chariots. Let's see here. Force of Karma. Mazdamundi getting 117 kills is amazing. Temple Guard also getting really nice kills, but just getting kind of beaten by the High Elves in the front line somewhat. And his Skinks really weren't able to be effective because of my chariots. For Jonton, who originally had gone in his favor, once I started interfering with those chariots, and, you know, the tide kind of started turning along with the Warp Lightning Cannon was doing some really nice work on him as well. You know, things kind of turned against him there. What originally had looked to be in his favor, you know, the Lizardmen were able to hold out against that assault, whereas he wasn't. So, hope you guys enjoyed watching that free-for-all. I sure enjoyed playing it. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. I'm keeping it coming with more every single day, so stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.